Internet! Welcome to 2.5 Brains. This is the discussion of the first and second episodes of The Amazing Race, the two-episode first week. We're going to talk all about it, break it all down. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything. You can like our Facebook page, facebook.com/PavementRoadProductions. You can email the show, pavementroadproductions@gmail.com. Subscribe right there in the bottom. Share the post, tell your friends, and go from there. So, obviously, it's the first 2 weeks. We're going to talk all about it, break it all down here. Definitely subscribe, see if I anything. We're going to try to get them out right as soon as the episode ends, like we are this week. But obviously, sometimes it may not happen that way. So definitely subscribe so you don't miss anything. You get it right when we put it out. So, the guests every week will be, may vary from week to week, but this week it's going to be myself, Yo Grab a Gab, and it's going to be Jessica as well.
Hello.
Jessica, welcome.
It's a twister outside.
Pretty much, yeah, kind of.
That's what the wind sounds like, at least.
Yeah, exactly. So, a little bit weird setup today. Obviously, we got Selena running around here, our kitty. We got Bailey over here looking at stuff.
Really going at it.
So, it's a little weird setup. The microphone isn't really in the best of positions at the moment.
I'll yell. Let
And-
me look for the colors. Green and yellow.
Yep.
Black and yellow, black and yellow.
Okay, we got it.
Got it? Okay.
So, we'll go ahead and dive in here, get started. What we do is, if this is the first time you're listening to a Amazing Race show, what we do, we go ahead and just kind of talk about the episode in general, some initial thoughts. We'll go ahead and talk about the roadblock, if there is one. Talk about the detour, if there is one. And obviously, if there's multiple episodes, obviously we'll talk about all the different roadblocks, detours, things like that. We'll talk about who got eliminated or who almost got eliminated or what went wrong for whoever got knocked out. And then we'll go ahead and break it down and talk about the best part of the show, of course, which is the power rankings. And we'll rank who's left. And it's not just a this week thing, it's a overall thing. So it could be like, hey, the team who finished first may not be first on power rankings. Last season, Hung and Chi were number one a lot because they were a really strong team. You knew they were going to be around at the end. The other teams you weren't really necessarily sure about. But they didn't always finish first, and a lot of times if they finish first, then they don't have a bad week the next week. They may still be number one even though they didn't finish first, right? Mm-hmm. So it's kind of just like here's where they have been so far. Here's where we see them, and here's where we see them going. Mm-hmm. Doesn't necessarily mean we think they're gonna win, but here either going strong so far. They're on the right track.
Initial judgment of how the teams did this week.
Right, and obviously every week we'll update it.
For the future. Yeah.
Yep, for sure. Cool. So let's go ahead and start off. Just go with any initial thoughts of the episodes. How did it start? How did the show start?
It started with everybody from home getting ready to go on a plane. They all met. Looking at me like that.
Go ahead.
They all met at certain airports. So it was funny because you see the guys, our Buffalo hometown guys, meeting up with people from Detroit and I think New Jersey was at least one of them.
Maybe.
But that was interesting. Everybody was basically on a phone. They got a text message, I guess, with a video or a call saying when they should leave to go to the airport. All their families were there and whatnot. And the beginning was cool. Yeah,
it was neat. It's something different. They usually start at the starting line, but in this case, it was just kind of, hey, travel safe. Go, from their home.
I can't imagine it was like a timed thing. I'm pretty sure everybody just met at a certain place and then it started.
No, I think that
you would assume.
You would assume.
You need to make it fair.
Right. You would assume they, kind of all, got sent, on airplanes to meet, and they probably had an actual starting line. They just didn't want to show it because of the whole COVID thing. They probably wanted it to kind of make it seem like they were kind of from home.
Yeah, but isn't that before COVID started?
It was, but they probably they
recorded that.
Had extra footage and they used it. That's what I'm thinking. They probably re-edited it. So cool. So you gotta keep the cat from drinking out of the tree water and being a pain in the butt.
Jumping up the tree or jumping on the curtains.
Yeah, so those
many things. There's a squirt bottle. She knows.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly. It's her first appearance on the show, though. She may make some noises.
She might.
She might make
She'll bite the dog, and then you'll know. If you hear Bailey going crazy, that's why. It's because of her.
Exactly. So, any other initial thoughts? You want to kind of just start with what happened on the show?
No, I can start. I mean, I was excited to see the show because I knew one team pretty well, and then we had our hometown guys on there, and as we watched the show, we got even more excited because we didn't realize who certain people were.
Yeah. So this season, I'm really pumped. I'm really feeling good. It's obviously it's been a little bit, it's a little disappointing start. We'll kind of get into that a little bit, but I'm really, there's people I've heard of on the show. There's people I thought, were, I mean, first of all, I'll talk about the one. Was it Dustin and
Spencer?
No,
Not Dustin. There's no Dustin. Dusty.
And Ryan. That's what I mean. Dusty.
Ryan was the one.
Yeah. So Dusty Ryan was. I heard his story. I heard of it. He was wrongly convicted of a crime and went to jail for like 10 years in college.
Yep.
And
he was convicted of murder and he never even met the person.
Right. So it was a really screwy case.
Yeah.
I remember, and it was something that got messed up. So obviously, so I've heard of that story. So he's on the race with his best friend, which is interesting.
The most exciting one, I think, is the heroes with Spencer and Anthony.
Yeah.
The what was it? What was the movie called that we saw? 17
Paris. 17 to Paris, something.
Yeah, 1715 to Paris or something, where they stopped a terrorist attack on their train while they were traveling to Paris.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, so I remember we actually watched the movie, and I remember the story, and the two guys who the story are about were in the movie.
They acted their
acted in the movie.
Parts.
Yeah, Clint Eastwood made the movie about them, and they got to play themselves in the movie, and obviously they said they're not rich actors. They just got paid a little money to be in the movie, but they weren't.
But that was amazing.
So awesome! I remember watching the movie.
Amazing story of what they did.
Yeah, stopping a terrorist attack on a train, and the one guy Spencer, I think it was, showed all his scars over his neck from having to stop the guy.
Like face, I think, cut too really bad.
Yeah. The scars on him from getting slashed by the guy and the terrorist. So really interesting, really cool. I didn't recognize them obviously before. I guess they looked familiar, but I didn't put two and two together. But Amazing Race, they one thing about the Amazing Race is I feel like they can get better casts because you're not by yourself. Well, right, you're traveling.
You're seeing the world too. You're not just sitting on an island smelling, can't take in a shower, have to go poop in the water.
Right.
It's disgusting.
Right. For sure. No, for sure. I think the Amazing Race can get a better cast than like Survivor or Big Brother. I mean, Big Brother has celebrity, I guess, but Amazing Race you're with somebody else. You're not by yourself. You're not sitting on an island. It's more fun. You get to travel the world. You get to go see other sites and do fun challenges. So I think it's less strategic. You don't have to
also,
know it.
It's not a cutthroat thing. You're not there to stab other people in the back. You can make friends with the people you're with. You just want to be ahead of them. Right,
for sure. So I think that's really cool. I really like how they did that. And then of course the silver team was one you said last time was the Pecker team. So that's Dusty.
They didn't have accents either. The Missouri guys, they really didn't have.
No, not really. No, Dustin and Ryan, right?
Slightly disappointing.
So a lot of fun stuff here to talk about. We'll go in detail here and break it all down. Obviously, the first episode was interesting. It was a two-parter. They did the first part. They had an elimination, and then they did the second part. We'll kind of go into that here. So let's go ahead and start off first with the first. The first episode did not have. Was there any challenges we talking about? But I don't think so.
I don't think so. It was pretty straightforward.
Oh, because they had to find
the boxes.
No,
the
no,
telephone
no.
boxes.
Yeah, the telephone boxes. That's right. Yeah, they find telephone boxes.
That was the first step.
Yeah, right. So
then they got to pick what detour they wanted to do.
That's right. So they had when they got to London, they had to find the phone booths that were the people, basically people in costumes dressed like phone booths, and they got to get their clues, and they had to find them, which some people have trouble finding that stuff, and then they had to go find the Bobby.
No, that's if they pick that.
Yeah,
one.
right. The detour.
Yep, that's if they pick the detour. Right. So if they either pick the scavenger hunt, basically, or the graffiti. Right.
So they had so they got let's take it from in some order. So
airport.
Yeah, they got to the airport. They got
a clue.
Got a clue.
They had to go find the telephone booth. And then from the telephone booth, they picked if they wanted to go on a scavenger hunt, which they had to find Big Ben, Little Ben, the DJ.
Yeah.
I can't remember what they called him. And then they had to go to the Museum of Natural History, I think it was.
That was the pit stop.
Well, everybody had to go to the pit stop.
And then they had to meet they had to go to a pastry shop to see the queen, a person dressed like the queen, a person dressed like Boris Johnson. Yes.
Or
that was in between.
Yeah. Or they picked the graffiti. Well, they both had to do that too. They did the graffiti, because the Buffalo guys had to do that.
They didn't have to do it was either the scavenger hunt or the graffiti.
Yeah,
and then
I know.
they had to go see Boris Johnson and the Queen.
But I thought the people that also did the graffiti had to go find the Queen too.
Both did. Yeah.
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 Oh yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
So, sorry. So we were
Just listen to what I'm saying. I'm saying it right.
correct. So they went to the phone booths, got their clue to go do a detour.
Yes.
The detour was the option of going to see 3 Bens, right? So it was
Yeah.
Big Ben, Little Ben, and it
Yes,
was
that's what I said.
Demi Ben or
Something. I don't know.
some-
Keep going.
that-
We're talking too much
yeah.
about the one thing.
So then after that, they got to go to. So after they did their detour, they got to go see
The coffee shop.
the coffee shop with the Queen or Boris Boris Johnson, and then they had to go
The
to
Museum of
the
Natural
Museum of
History.
Natural History for the pit stop.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about the detour decision in the first episode.
Killing me. Freaking killing me. So the detour decision, and then you missed the graffiti they had to do. Or they...
Which is the detour?
Huh?
Which is the detour?
Yeah, so the scavenger hunt.
Yes, the detour is a scavenger hunt, so talk about that. Let's talk about the detour now. That's what we're trying to do.
Okay.
Good Lord.
So tell me what you want me to say.
Talk about the detour.
I thought we were. I was just going to describe what the graffiti one was.
Let's talk about it.
I was.
Go.
Oh my god.
Say
I'm
words!
gonna strangle you. Except I'm gonna spray you with the cat water. Stop it.
It's a good first episode.
So,
Here we go.
the graffiti. Everybody that chose that one got handed basically paper and were told how to paste it to a wall. That's it. Realizing in between it that it was actually a picture, which of course it's going to be a picture. It's not going to be random pieces on a wall. Basically a picture of the, I think it was the flag of England. It was
Yep.
like basically fireworks with the flag and
Yep.
whatnot. So most of the teams figured it out pretty quickly, and pasted it on there. Then they got, their clue, went to the, see the Queen at the coffee shop, and then they went to the pit stop.
Obviously, it was the real Queen.
Obviously not. It looked pretty close.
Yeah, it was good.
It was a good
Boris Johnson too.
impersonation, Yeah.
So after they did that, then they obviously the other option was, of course, to do the scavenger hunt, which we already talked about. So,
Yes.
So-
Million times.
so my question to you is,
Which one?
which
should
one
we
would you
pick?
have done?
I probably would have picked the art.
Okay.
I'm not fast. I mean, if we're talking us,
Yeah.
I would have did the art for myself because I don't know if I could have made it through the town. I would have been, slow and steady wins the race person because I'm not a runner. However, the easier one would have been the scavenger hunt because it was pretty easy.
So I really think if you figure out that it was a puzzle,
And you lay it out like
and
everyone
you lay it
else
out,
did.
lay it out, and then you just kind of pick it up one at a time, put them in, take your time, go slow and steady through that part. I think that's way easier.
Yeah.
But again, you really don't know that because the clue was just like street art and blah blah blah. And so you're like, do I have to learn how to paint? Like
Right.
you really
Graffiti,
don't. Right?
yeah.
Do I have to learn how to do all that? So obviously they're not gonna probably make you do that. So, it's not gonna be exactly that, but it's kind of hard to. The clue isn't clear really what it is.
Yeah.
Once you figure out what it is, that's I think that's way easier because it's easy to get lost in London in the dark.
Right.
Obviously, you speak the language, which is different.
Yeah.
But language is you speak it's English, which is great. But they, you had to go find the Bobby, and the people are like, what's a Bobby? So that was part of it, and then
Going into the race, if you're going to be good at like the running stuff or the art stuff.
yeah,
You know that pretty much right away. So you kind of want to go with your strength.
yeah, and I'm always kind of one who always goes with do the straightforward one. Don't do the one that has all the nuance or the skills that you need. And in this case, it wasn't really one that had skills. It was one that was kind of like following different, directions, going make a left, make a right, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I just want to do what's the simplest one, even if it takes longer. Simpler for me is better, and I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
So I think that's the right one,
Right.
for sure. That's the detour decision.
Yeah.
So then we can go ahead to the second episode. We'll kind of come back or circle back around
Bounce
to
it back.
yeah. So second episode, what happened?
There was a roadblock.
It was.
So it was the snail mail. They basically had to take, the underground train
Yep.
that used to deliver mail throughout London to a separate spot. They had to look through bags of mail just to find the clue. Like, that's all they had to do was just find the clue, the envelope that was white and it had the clue. So some people found it quickly and some found it and thought there was a catch, which was disappointing but hilarious.
Yeah.
Um,
And that was the roadblock, and that's, of course, only one person can perform that one.
right.
And then that pretty much started the episode with that, and then they stayed in London
Yes.
for the whole episode.
Yes.
And then after that, they had to do the detour. Is that right?
Yeah, so the detours was either having to decorate cake, so it was basically cake or darts.
Yeah.
Decorate cake, or they had to, both their teammates had to score a bullseye in the same round. So one would go, the next one would go. If you didn't score within throwing your 6 darts,
Three.
then
Yeah, each throw
you
three.
get 3. Yeah.
For sure. So that one was, they got a beer with it and everything like that, and the throwing darts, and for me, it wasn't that far away. I don't think it was like really like it was regulation distance darts or anything, but it's still darts. It's still not easy.
It's darts, but I don't know. Like, if you think about the bars in, let's say, the United States and America, they're all plastic.
Yeah.
They're all those machines, but metal darts are so much different. I used to play in my grandmother's basement with their set of metal dart and that dartboard, and you really have to throw it a specific way to get it to fly how you want it to. It's different.
It is.
But, yeah. Unless you've actually thrown a dart, I wouldn't recommend that one.
Right. I also would say, too, though, the one good thing I guess you can say about it, though, is you're not waiting for another team to go. You're not, you can throw 3, and if you get them, great. If not, you can stop it. It's not like you're waiting. You
just
can
keep going.
Just keep firing.
Yeah. But the cake one, too, is the same thing. That one's more attention to detail, a steady hand, and not rushing. And also, you need to know who is actually in the European Union or not.
Which got messed up a few times.
Yes, it did. It did.
Yeah, I mean they had the cakes there, and they said pick 2 cakes that are in the European Union and decorate it like they did, and the decorating like they did was pretty good. Most people did pretty well with that. There was a couple of little things, but overall that part was pretty easy. It was just knowing which countries are in the European Union. Norway was picked, which I thought it was too, so I can't nail them on that. But a couple people picked England, which Brexit happened, so that wasn't one. So the ones that they picked were Germany and France, and those were obviously
everybody picked Germany and France.
Yeah, eventually
at that point. But I mean, it also happened that way because the people that got there first went up first and then came back, so everybody realized that it wasn't that. So everyone basically that walked in saw them doing France and Germany and picked that.
Yeah, for sure.
But also, you should pick the ones that are just basic straight lines because it's faster and easier to do.
Yeah, for sure. And Germany is straight line, and obviously there's fruits you're using and for this whatever. So it's not just painting a straight line, but there's a little more nuance. But at the same time,
you have to color the background though too. It has to be straight, no drips of fruit liquid. Even though some teams got away with it towards the end, but yes.
Yeah, but overall it was it was a good challenge. I don't know, which one would you have done?
Cake.
I
think I could do that so much easier because I do that kind of stuff like. Decorating a cake wouldn't be a difficult task for me. It would be you need to tell me who's in the EU because I didn't know exactly, but we would have got it wrong because we would have picked Norway.
I would have picked Germany or France, but I thought Norway was also.
I would have said no to Norway because it's more difficult. I would have wanted to do Germany, France, Italy, any of those.
Yeah.
Any of them that are straight lines.
Yeah, for sure. We would have been good with that. Like I said, I thought Norway was, so I thought he was gonna be okay, but no, I knew if they had those 2 options, I'd just pick those for sure.
Yeah.
That being said, to the darts one, the only downside of the darts one, I guess, is you both had to get it on the same 3. So
Correct.
it's not like one can get one, then they're done.
Right.
You both have to get one with your 3 at the same. Within the same one, so
they all had to stay in the board, which makes it harder. Like if you got a bullseye and take out the darts, and then I could get one.
Right.
Maybe that'd be possible, but it's so much harder when you're having to toss around other darts on the board.
And, so and that being said, it is a pretty straightforward one too, though. So
it is, but it could be time consuming. And I mean, I'm really good at darts. I kick your butt every single time.
You do.
I don't know if I would be successful. Now I'm going to set up a dartboard and practice constantly, all those things.
There you go.
And do that.
Perfect. So those are the detour decisions of this episode, and then obviously we talked about the roadblock. So let's go ahead and then So how'd that episode end? That was just they had to after they did the detour, they go right to the pit stop. Is that what happened?
After they did the detour, they got their clue for the pit stop, and they had to get a cab and go to the bus. Yeah,
so you had to go on double decker bus, and that was the pit stop. But that actually was not. It was actually a continuation leg.
Well, yeah, it was that part was a non-elim.
It was
but yeah,
it was a continuation because they didn't say you're not eliminated. They just gave them your next clue, let them continue.
Right.
So it kind of was a little bit of because they wait till the end. Sometimes with the continuation they just give the first person the clue.
Yeah.
And then they go.
Right.
So it's kind of an in between one. It's a little bit of not a limb, a little bit of because there's only a certain number of not a limbs, and sometimes they throw in that continuation leg. But I would more consider this one a non-limb than a continuation, anyways. But
Well, yeah.
either way, so either way, it doesn't really matter. The actual semantics of it. But so the second episode, nobody eliminated. Who was last?
Lala and Lulu.
I think that's what it is.
Marinella and somebody, I don't remember.
Yeah,
the twins, the
tw-
radio gals.
Yep, the twins. I think they're from Jersey.
I don't know, maybe.
I think so.
I can look it up.
Or New York, whatever. Doesn't matter. So they were spared at the end. But the first one out, the first team out, we have to talk about that.
Yes, New Jersey.
Yeah, Bergen, right?
Yep, Bergen.
Okay. So let's talk about the first team out, though.
I don't want to talk about the first team out.
I don't either.
Because I want it to go back in time, and the first team isn't the first team that's actually out.
Right.
That one hurt. That hurt a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Tell me about it.
Like, a lot. So, everybody saw, which is very disappointing, the Buffalo Boys, Mo Michael. Was it? Oh, Mo Badger.
Yeah.
Mo Badger, Michael Norwood.
Yep.
Norwood.
Norwood.
Ow! Sorry, the cat.
She's making her appearance
she
felt.
She doesn't make the noises loudly, but she'll let us know if she's around.
Exactly.
So, Mo Badger and Norwood.
Norwood
I
screwed Buffalo again.
be laughing. Yeah, I know.
Ooh. She
Actually-
just clawed at Bailey. He just headbutted her.
Oh, no.
Tried to.
So, yeah, actually, Norwood did screw Buffalo again.
Yeah.
Oh, no. The curse.
It's cursed.
The curse. That name is just cursed.
Yep.
Unfortunately, our singing cops from Buffalo were the first to be eliminated. It sucked. They didn't have their attention to detail going, and they thought that one was simple, where, the male one we all saw was simple. That one, the graffiti had a lot more to it that I wish they would have caught on to earlier than they did.
So what did they do wrong? I mean, there's really only a couple things you really can do wrong in a race.
I mean, they were pretty good with getting around places. I don't think they were really last, because they were kind of, at least in the middle of the pack with everything with that part. I mean, they found the telephone guy, telephone booth, pretty in the middle, not really towards the end at all. It was just they got lost finding the cafe as well.
That was, and it really though. So yeah, their attention to detail put them near the back of the pack, right?
It did. I mean, they beat Lulu and Lala out of that graffiti thing, so they did have a little bit of a heads up. But when it came to finding, they got their cab and then finding the cafe, they found Lulu and Lala found it first.
Yeah, and I think the cab driver kind of dropped them off not in the same spot as the girls. The girls got dropped off kind of right in front of it, where the guys kind of dropped us down the street a little bit.
Find it,
And then they got a little lost, made a wrong turn, and the girls passed them. So they actually left the detour
before the girls.
Yeah, in 10th.
Yep.
And then they got passed on the way to the cafe. And then the girls held the lead to the end. Again, you don't really know how far it is from the final spot to the to the end. You really can't. It's not like it's sometimes like travel on foot, sometimes it's travel by taxi, sometimes it's you have to sometimes it's way closer to the end than than others.
Right.
Some are right there.
Right.
And I feel like the second leg I felt like was a lot closer to the pit stop than the first leg, but they all seemed pretty close. It was all pretty much through London, so it wasn't like you're I mean, London's a big city, but it's not like it's you're traveling the whole country.
Right.
So it's you really don't know the distance between things. And in this case, they got passed up on the way to the cafe and then couldn't make it up.
Unfortunately.
So attention to detail is a big thing. I think they kind of just figured they'd be okay. They seem like a strong team.
Yeah, they would have been fine if they just caught on to that point. Like, if they would have stopped midway at least, but instead they put every single paper up and then asked for a check and thought that it was fine. It's like, yeah, it's graffiti art, but the wall was the graffiti part. You needed to put the art up.
Yeah, right. And even graffiti art is still art.
Well,
right.
No, I know, but like you were putting an actual picture on what was already
that's
graffitied.
What I mean.
It wasn't just throwing it up.
And that's what I mean. They kind of just threw stuff up there like it was just graffiti like you'd see on a on a bridge.
Right.
It's actual art that is used with spray paint.
Right, and I mean, when they did the announcement or when Phil said what it was and describing it, like he talked about a really famous graffiti artist that is in like London. I can't remember the name now, but I have heard of them before. Like they are a very famous person. I don't think really anybody knows exactly who they are. Maybe, I don't know. I just know that they're very famous. I've heard their name.
Yeah, and so that was their mistake. I mean, obviously, Amazing Race. If you pay attention to detail, you don't get lost. Taxi cabs can definitely screw you over for sure. But I think they didn't pay attention to detail, put themselves behind the 8 ball, and then they had a little bad luck. Which, Buffalo and bad luck, that those don't go hand in hand, do they?
I mean, you just pointed out Norwood. That was the problem.
Right.
He should have changed his name.
Right.
And it would have been fine.
Exactly.
Norwood.
And but instead, when you make mistakes like that, any amount of bad luck's gonna screw you, and that's what happened in this case.
Yep.
So, unfortunately, Be-Back's winner's out, which is the only reason to celebrate. Be-Back finally picked someone who didn't win.
But I'm sad.
I am too. We're pulling for him. Obviously, Buffalo could use a win, but maybe the Bills will make up for it.
Even if they didn't win, my heart just hurts because they're out first. Like, come on.
Yeah,
really?
At least be second.
You're representing Buffalo and you really went out first. It's so hard to deal with this.
Yeah, I know it is. It's
really
tough.
hard to deal with it.
It's tough. I guess the good news is we don't have to worry about it the rest of the season. We can kind of move on. And
it's not good news, though.
I know. Instead of worrying about them, going forward, we can just kind of...
Yeah, they tried their best. They were funny. They did sing a couple times, which was exciting on there. But oh, God.
And they sang as they were leaving too, which was cool. Like I said, I like them. I like to meet them. I'm surprised they didn't have like any watch parties or anything. Maybe they did. We shouldn't hear about it, but
right. Yeah, no, I would like to meet them as well.
For sure. Mm-hmm. So, cool. So that's who did not make it through, who got eliminated. Let's go ahead now with the best part, most fun part of this episode of the show here of our little podcast with the power rankings. So this is after the 2 episodes, kind of put everything together, how we feel about the teams, right? Who do you think is doing well? Who do you think is kind of next? Who do you think has the best chance to win as of now? Again, it's not necessarily who you think is going to win or anything like that. It's just kind of how they're doing so far and how we feel they're doing.
Right.
So it's a little bit of everything. We look at it a little bit of everything and come up with a little formula, and that's what spits out. So let's go ahead and start with the 10th team left. So there's 10 teams now left. Obviously, after the first team was eliminated and the second team wasn't, 10 teams left. Who's number 10 ranked?
Lala and Lulu.
Why are they here?
Well, I mean, they were kind of towards the bottom of the pack for both quote-unquote episodes for both parts of it.
Yep.
They weren't really towards the top. Not that they really bicker. They did bicker a little bit with things. They didn't argue a ton, but they did have some moments where they just weren't agreeing with each other on items.
Yeah, they were definitely bickering. They definitely were, not getting along that well. And they don't seem to have a great sense of direction. They don't seem to have a ton of skills that are... They remind me a lot of the Blondes from last season, who just kind of happened to get to... Every time they were last, it was not elimination, and they were cities behind everybody else, but it was not elimination, and they happened to catch a good flight and be the front of the pack, and then they finished third, and they finished, and then they'd be back in their pack again, and so I just feel like they may get some luck to keep them in the race a little bit further. But they don't seem to have really any major skill set that stands out as like, oh, they're gonna be good at this type of thing.
Yeah, agreed.
I can't see them making it past like the fourth episode.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Who's 9th?
Akbar and Sherry.
Yeah, so we talked about these together. We came up with these together. So, why Akbar and Sherry?
I mean, we even said, I think, in our preview show that they probably would argue.
Yeah.
I think we talked about.
Well, they did. They showed that in the trailer.
Yeah. Well, what was it? Slow and Steady wins the race. So Slow and Steady. I mean, it didn't win the race, but it did keep them in. Actually, he was getting really upset with her because she wasn't going fast enough. They decided to do the scavenger and go all around London to find all the bends, and I just, I felt bad because. I don't know, like she said, they used to play basketball together, but exercising went on the back burner when they had children, so that probably wasn't the best thing for her to actually do, but, they don't seem like they will get through many of the things, many of the detours.
And they said I think they finished 7th in the second leg, so it wasn't like they were in the back of the pack, but they just... The running part is not their strong suit. They seem to bicker quite a bit. I think it's one of the things where they'll like even they'll probably even have a blow up on the race and then be good.
Yeah.
You know, but the blow up it could hurt you.
Right.
I mean, I think their marriage is probably really strong.
Oh,
I think they are good, a really good couple. I think they mesh really well. But I think when you have those blow ups on the race, you know, that's gonna cost you time and hurt you.
Yeah.
Even though it won't hurt you in your long term, you know, marriage or anything.
No.
I think they're fine. I just think it's, you know, when you lose time because you're not fast and you lose time because you're arguing, that hurts.
I mean, you add $1 million and you're playing a game, like, you're gonna argue because you want to be the best and be number one and you want to win.
For sure.
That's why it's gonna happen. But I mean, yeah, and it's nothing that they don't have a strong marriage or anything.
Right. I think they both. I think they both have very strong personalities. I think they probably argue a lot in their real life too. But they just you know they do that. Then they're like, okay, I'm sorry, I'm good,
Yeah.
and then they move on. I think it's kind of we talk about kind of like that when our pre-marriage stuff. Like some need to fight to get it out, and then they're good.
Right.
And I can see them being like that. But again, on the race, it's not exactly productive.
Right.
So I don't see them, but and I don't think they don't seem very athletic. They seem strong. They just don't seem like they're athletic anymore. They said they both played sports, but
They both play basketball.
she said that was 18 years
in
ago
college.
or whatever, 12 years ago, whatever it was.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
20 years ago.
20 years ago, even better.
Yeah.
So that's why they're ninth. Who's eighth?
Connie and Sam.
Yeah, so they're again. I think they're very high variance. I think they finished second or third, or
Second
on the second leg, and the first leg they were almost last.
Yeah.
They were like ninth.
Yes.
So they're very high variance. You know, I think they could be great. I think they could be terrible. He was looking around for somebody named Bobby.
Well, they couldn't even, like, it took them a while to find just the phone boost, and then they had to find one that actually had a clue left because it was only one that had it left, and that took them a while to even find that. So,
For sure.
yeah, they did get delayed, and he walked by the guy that was, you know, the Bobby, and he's just like, Bobby, you Bobby? Like, yeah.
And he thought his name was Bobby. It's
Yeah.
not. It's a Bobby.
Yeah.
But it said that. But then again, the second episode, I think they did the darts, right?
Yeah.
And they look like they hung out in bars and they are good at darts. You know, so it's
Yeah.
like that seemed like something in their skill set.
Right.
But I don't know how many things are gonna be in their skill set. They seem like they have no sense of direction. They're kind of just like, you know, all over the place, running around the chickens with head cut off type of thing.
I mean, the dart, yeah, he did. She, you know,
Yeah.
took a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah.
It was more in their wheelhouse.
For sure. So I think, and again, it's one of those things where if there's not gonna be a ton of challenges in your wheelhouse unless you have a gigantic wheelhouse like Tyler and Corey and, you know, other people who've been on the race. I remember there was a professional surfers who had a surfing challenge. Well, obviously, right? But like other than that, there's not something that's really, you know, right up your alley. You know, you have to have a diverse set of skills, and I don't think they do.
You're doing all the bungee jumping things.
Right, I'm not doing that either. We're taking the 4-hour penalty.
Yeah, family.
Yeah, we're taking the 4-hour penalty on that.
Yeah.
Right. So, and actually, they were my winner pick too. So I don't, but I definitely regret that. But you know, I've never picked a winner once in my entire life in all these shows. So why start now?
I guess you have
Right,
Survivor.
One winner, once.
Okay, well you picked one.
Mine, yeah. Of all the time I've been doing it for how long? I picked one. Anyways,
It's all luck.
for the most part. So, so I said I don't feel great about them, but again, I could see them going to the final three, but I also could see them go out next. It's very high variance for me. Who's number 7?
Arun and Natalie.
Yeah. So what about them?
The father-daughter duo, they're really not that bad. They got through most things pretty well, and communication, like, they don't even seem like they really argue much at all, which is good. But, you know, he's older. They're just, I guess, a little bit slower, but they made through everything pretty well.
And they seem to have a really good relationship. She said he's not like a traditional Indian father, you know,
My way is the higher, yeah.
My way or the highway.
Exactly.
And she said, you know, he will, you know, respect her opinions, and they seem to have a good respect for each other. That's
Right.
what you know, that's what they even said. And that's good. I mean, that's, you know, you have to be partners. If you're not partners in the race, you're not gonna do well. And they said they're super fans, and it's funny because the episode they showed them watching was featured Vank and Ashton from what season, and they were like not popular at all. They were like hated by everybody else on the show, so it was kind of funny. But he was like an Asian guy, and I think it was a season where they picked their partners at the beginning of the episode, beginning of the season, and the girl's a blonde like realtor. And she's like, I hope a big strong guy picks me to be on her team. And the nerdy Asian guy picks her because he thought she was hot. And that was quite hilarious.
It's funny.
And but they seem like good. They seem like they will be able to do something. Again, it's ow. They remind me of the team from last year though, with the father and son, where just like I don't think they're gonna be able to. Amen. And amen. Don't let this cat kill me. Don't let the devil cat kill me. If you could see this, you'd be knowing why we're laughing here. But the cat's attacking me.
And the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, exactly. Jessica saying the sign of the cross over here.
I said it last time too, but very quietly.
Good Lord.
Anyways, continue.
But that team, the basketball player and coach,
she wants to play fetch.
exactly. He was a little too old and they couldn't keep up. And I think that might be the problem with this team. I could see them being high. I could definitely, if they can show that they can finish, consistently top 7, top 5 or whatever. I can see them. I can bump them up in the power rankings.
Yeah.
But I just I don't know how well he's gonna hold up stamina wise. Hopefully he proves me wrong.
Yeah. No, I think so. I think they could do well, but they could also fall apart.
Jessica's singing a part. Jessica's singing a song here. Jessica's singing a part. Fall apart.
Exactly.
He's the oldest person on the race, so obviously it's it's gonna be tougher, but. They definitely fine. I mean, they did the darts and they took a while, but they eventually got it. So,
yeah.
We'll see how they do.
That is correct.
We'll see how they do.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No.
All right. So what's next?
Isaiah and Taylor.
So that's number 6, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Isaiah and Taylor. They finished 9th this second leg, but again, I see that I think they have a better skill set. I mean, I can't really put them much higher because they were almost eliminated this week.
Yeah.
I mean, they were eliminated. So I really can't put them much higher than 7th or 6th, whatever, right? But they do seem like they have a decent set of skills. They do seem like they're good. They seem to get along really well, yeah.
Yeah, there hasn't been any arguments or anything with them. They're pretty good.
Yeah, so I think they're a good solid team. They just haven't done well yet. But I do see them doing well, and once they do, I'll love definitely bump them up higher in the power rankings. But it's hard to put somebody 3rd or 4th when they've just finished 9th.
Yeah.
So.
They were in the middle of the pack or towards the end of the pack, both of them.
Yeah. So I think they'll come to their own. I think they'll be formidable. I don't know. I mean, they could be out next week and they may never hit that stride, but I think if they do hit their stride, they'll be really dangerous.
Yeah.
What is next or anything else you want to add?
No, we can go to next.
All right. What's next?
Caro and Ray.
Yeah, Caro and Ray.
So they bicker a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
There was that moment where she was pretty angry and upset with him. I think they're doing well when they are getting through their items and getting through their tasks.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit of a risky situation for them because they've only been together 7 months. They don't live near each other, so they don't see each other often. So, that might be a problem.
So right, and they're both in good shape. They're young, athletic. I mean, he made Ray made the same mistake as Penn on the male carrier thing, and also this is the don't take this the wrong way. They're the token this season. You know what I mean by token?
No.
The token reality TV contestants.
Oh.
Because they're on another, I guess it's probably CBS reality show or some reality show.
Probably Love Island.
Island, yeah. And I don't remember, I never watched the show, but I know there was a picture of it, came up on like the Hulu, whatever, to watch it, or Paramount, wherever it was, to watch it, and her picture was on it. So I saw her on that. But pretty much every season of The Amazing Race at this point, Jessica's just falling apart here on me.
The cat ran into the gate.
I know.
Funny.
But they can't see that, so.
I'm sorry. It was loud. They probably heard it.
Did you hear that?
That was a really big ting. They can't hear me. I'm trying to talk louder.
Ting, ting,
I'm yelling.
Ting. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
She just ran right into the freaking gate.
Yeah.
It's right. But yeah, she's playing fetch. She's running into something and biting Jessica's toes.
I'm trying not to, but that hurt.
So I think I don't know if it's a reality TV. I don't know if it's a CBS reality, but CBS likes getting high in their own supply. They like taking their own characters and adding doing other things with them. I mean, I remember there was there was a couple that was a blind date couple on the one season of Amazing Race. They put them on Big Brother the next season. You know, and then obviously Natalie and Nadia on the Amazing Race went on Survivor. You know, they had the reality TV one. They had the reality TV season. They had the season before that was the Big Brother couple was on there. They won. You know, so that was a whole big. They like putting at least one person from their own shows on, one of their other shows. And give them more exposure or whatnot.
Right, free advertising.
For sure.
They're paying them something to be.
They are, of course, but it's cross promotion. They always do that. So they're the token reality couple that is on this season. So no shock there. But like I said, they don't seem to get along that well. They seem like they could do the task decently well, and they've been on TV before, but they seem like they are going to be bickering a lot, and that's going to be a problem, I think, for them.
Yeah.
I would probably put them higher if it wasn't for that.
Yeah.
Anything else, Jessica?
No.
All right. And of the massive amounts of silliness going on today.
I'm trying to keep my composure.
Understandable.
Clawing my foot.
Is it tickle or does it hurt?
Oh, it hurts because I'm making a face at you, but then I make myself laugh because I'm just trying not to yell. Instead, I'm opening my mouth and yeah.
Yeah, understandable.
I'm cracking myself up.
What'd you say?
You got your toy? Where's your mouse?
It's not really a mouse, is it? It's
I
a
don't
mouse.
know.
It is. Whatever.
It's destroyed.
Okay. So fourth, unless there's anything else to add.
No.
Fourth.
The Holderness is.
Yeah, the Holderness family.
Yeah, Penn and Kim.
Yeah. So why are they here?
Well, I mean, they started off really well in the beginning. I mean, the second leg, they were a little bit behind, but mostly I think it was just because of the cabs all racing to get to the same spot.
And he made the mistake with...
He made the mistake with the mail.
The mail.
Stupid. He was definitely overthinking it, but it's like a beautiful mind thing where he had that puzzle and he got it down. They got the graffiti art done really quickly because he said he's got ADHD, but it makes him focus so hard on what he's doing. So that was pretty cool. I mean, they got along really well, even with any mistakes. She was really supportive, didn't blame him like he blamed himself, and she's just like, no, you're fine, like, let's go, let's just keep going.
And he ran and fell at one time, which was...
He did, yeah, and then Phil said in the first detour, like, oh, we gotta show these young kids.
It was at the first pit stop.
Their first pit stop, yeah.
Yeah, I think they finished fourth, didn't they? I think they finished fourth the first leg.
Yeah, it was fourth.
So exactly where we have them here. But
got to show these young kids, older couples got to win it or something along those lines. And then you said, yeah, Phil just called you old. So
yeah, right. But which is, they are older and it's definitely a younger cast.
Yeah.
But I like I said, I mean, you can look at older cast, younger cast. I mean, recently, Christy and Colin weren't young when they won.
They're probably in their 40s too, weren't they?
Probably. I mean, they were on the Amazing Race 8, and they won Amazing Race 30, whatever.
Penn is 47. I think Kim's like 45 or 44.
Yeah.
They're not that old.
Right. So, they're in good shape, and the thing is, too, they have fun with it. Mm-hmm. Right?
I mean, they're hilarious. Their videos are awesome. So, like, yeah, they just make everything a joke, which is good.
And they kind of remind me of Team Fun from, I think it was last year or year before, where they just, they don't take themselves too seriously. They have a good time with it. The thing I do worry about, again, like I said, with Team Fun's downfall was that they didn't take it seriously enough, right? Where I think these guys are kind of in the same vein of that. We'll see how they do. I don't necessarily see them winning, but I do think they'll be around for a while. And I'm definitely going to like rooting for them. They are really likable. They're really funny, and all those things. You can scream. It's okay. The cat bites your toe.
I'm trying not to. The face just makes you laugh too.
Yeah, Jessica's just getting her toe demolished by this cat.
Oh crap!
So, like I said, I'm gonna root for them. They're definitely likable. They're funny. I hope they stick around for a while. And maybe they'll surprise us and win. But I like them. I'm happy, and I want them to stay around.
Yeah, I don't really think that they're not taking anything seriously because, I mean, once they got to that puzzle, and him zoning right into it. Like, I feel like once they have some sort of task they need to do, then they will. They're not going to joke around too much with it.
For sure. They took
They
stop
make
for a minute.
light of things.
Well, they did stop for a minute, I think, to hug the queen or whatever, right? Which was
Yeah, I know. Well, that was funny though.
Yeah,
But still.
but yeah, I mean, if you're laser focused on winning, that's not something you do.
I know.
That being said, I said, and he said too. He says he was looking for the clue, and he found it, but he should have known it was a clue because it was a clue.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Don't think things over, but when you think it's easy, just go.
But then again,
But then yeah.
they didn't know. They thought the first one, they overthought, or they a lot of people didn't think about the first one with the graffiti,
Right.
and they just went and started putting stuff on the wall, and Kim's like, no, it's gotta be more complicated than that. And of
Right.
course,
Yeah.
she was right. So listen to Kim.
Right. Exactly.
When in doubt, listen to the wife.
Exactly. Lessons learned in life.
All right. So, anything else about them? We're gonna move on to number 3. Let's move on to number 3, so the cat can stop destroying your feet. Who's number 3?
The flight attendants.
Yeah. So again, I really don't know what to do with them. They've done well so far. They remind me of a little bit of the Afghanimals from that season because
Maybe.
the Afghanimals were just not just for the fact that they're kind of goofy, but for the fact that they start off really, really strong. The Afghanimals had one of the first 2 legs, but I never took them seriously as winners.
Yeah.
Because Leo and Jamal would always do Leo and Jamal things
Yeah.
and screw up and they would blow it because they'd bicker or do something stupid or argue or be arrogant. Right. And I feel like the flight attendants had a couple good legs. Wink. That's for Beatback.
Yeah. Yeah, you better not be winking.
I'm not winking.
Okay.
You almost hit me in the winky though.
Yeah, I know. That's what you're going to get if you winking at the girls.
I'm not. But they've done well in the first 2.
They did really well, and they didn't argue at all.
No,
they laughed things through.
And they had fun, and they said they're having fun too. I don't know. I don't see it for them.
I mean, I can't take them quite seriously
Right.
with things.
Right.
Yeah.
But again, I don't see them winning. But again, they've done well, so I can't really put them much lower either because they've done well.
Right.
And they finished 3rd the second
No,
leg.
they definitely deserve to be in the top 3.
Yeah, for sure. And then they finished in the top 3 both legs, didn't they? Or, yeah. So I think it was
Uh,
3rd the first time, and then 3rd the second
first
time.
I don't know if it was 3rd the second time. Maybe
It was around there.
around there.
Cool.
In that vicinity.
So team number 2 in our power ranking.
The heroes.
Yeah. So that's Spencer and Anthony.
Paris heroes.
Yeah, for sure. What tell me about them?
I mean, they're just pretty strong with everything. I don't know. I feel like there's only one detour, so you can't say if they've picked the stronger person on that because Anthony did find it and knew right away and just left.
Roadblock.
The roadblock. I said, yeah, there's only been one roadblock, so you don't know who's better at what kind of task, I guess. I mean, they get along well, too. They've been friends for so long. I mean, if you go through a terrorist attack with somebody, I think you're probably pretty good if you take someone down together.
Yeah, for sure.
You would think so.
You would think so. So I think that's right. I they've done well so far. They've been strong. They had a little bad luck with Cab. They finished 7th on the second leg.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Cab took them kind of a different way than they probably should have gone. But other than that, the things that they can, in this thing, right? The things what you want to look for, especially with the power rankings, things that they can control. What do they do with them? Everybody's gonna have bad luck, and
you can't take the cab stuff into account because no one can control what your cab driver's gonna do.
Right, for sure. So, and number 1 is
Ryan and Dusty.
Yeah. Again, strong. I think they won the first. They won the second leg.
It was between them and the heroes. They were pretty neck and neck with most things.
Yeah.
Like especially in the beginning too, they got to the same places basically at the same time. So
Yeah, and they won the second leg. They were, I think, second on the first leg.
Yeah.
So they've been solid. Really good team.
Yeah.
Again, the teams who are often in the power rankings number 1. If there's detours and roadblocks, that could screw stuff up. And we also know now that next episode is the episode that they had COVID hit and they had to stop.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't really know where. And obviously, if they have good momentum going there, obviously a year and a half away from that, we'll probably screw that up.
Right.
How could it not?
You
So-
hope not much though, but yeah, anything can happen. You're restarting it and
Right.
yeah.
And you're gonna have a restart. You're gonna all start from the same location, whatever, and all be on the same flight to wherever.
Well, right. Yeah.
So any lead you had is gonna be gone.
Yeah.
but
But the same thing with them, they're buddies, so they get along well and I don't want to say guys don't bicker like girls because guys
don't.
are just as moody. Guys can be just as moody, but it's
Guys are
different.
more ego.
Yes,
And-
guys are ego.
Guys are more ego, and that's the difference. They don't necessarily hold grudges as much, but they get their own ego into
Well,
it.
look
That's the
at
problem.
yeah. I see guys bicker,
They can.
pissing contest constantly.
Well, that's it. It's the ego
Yeah,
part of it. Yeah.
yeah.
It's that side of it. Yeah, for sure. It's not the it's not they're not catty. They're egotistical. So, either way is not good. Either way is not good. So, anything else to add?
I don't think so. We better stop before the cat attacks me again.
Yeah, we went a little longer, but obviously it was a double episode. I'm hoping that they're not all gonna be double episodes. I hope they kind of let this season breathe because I really like this cast. I really like the season so far, and I hope it. I hope they let they a lot of times they rush through the seasons, right? They rush through. They're like, hey, they get through double episode, and they're through it in a month as opposed to letting it go for 2-3 months and enjoy and give it a chance to enjoy it.
I'm enjoying myself.
Yeah.
I like The Amazing Race.
Yeah, it's enjoyable. It's fun, and it's not. You don't have to overthink it. So,
Right.
I enjoy it. I know you
To
enjoy
deal
it.
with a bunch of crap being thrown at me.
Right.
Yeah.
So, we will see. I hope they the season breathe and just don't rush it.
Let it air out like a fine wine.
Exactly.
Let it breathe.
Exactly. Anything else, Jessica?
No.
All right, I think we're good then. Be sure to subscribe to Emma's Handing. You like our Facebook page, facebook.com/Pavement Road Productions. We're on Facebook, like our page. You can email the show directly, pavementroadproductions@gmail.com. That's pavementroadproductions@gmail.com. You can subscribe right there, share the post, tell your friends. If you know people who like The Amazing Race, let them know we're doing a show and tell them to check us out. Obviously, we'll have other stuff come up soon, maybe sports and politics and other stuff like that. But for now, we focus on The Amazing Race until Survivor comes back, and then we'll go Survivor again. But for now, we'll try to get out other stuff, other content other than the reality TV stuff, at least once a month if we can. I'm going to try to get one of those out soon. But be sure to subscribe so you get it all when we do get it out. And I appreciate that. Anything else, Jessica?
I got nothing for you because the tribe has spoken.
No, you have not. You have not. You're living in the wrong trifecta of CBS reality.
I was being funny. I guess it wasn't very funny.
Don't get evicted from the house either, Jessica.
I can't get evicted from the house.
The Big Brother house?
Yeah, I know. I just meant I can't get evicted from our house. But yeah, I don't know. I don't watch Big Brother. I'm sorry.
Cool. You're probably better off.
Sorry, not sorry though.
You're probably better off.
Yeah,
All right. So, anyways, hey, but they did have a commercial though for Celebrity Big Brother.
Yeah, no thanks. I won't watch any of it. Yeah, I might not be watching the other show that's going to be coming in February.
I know.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Jessica's having fun. I'm glad Jessica's having fun again and
I'm having fun with this.
not beaten down by
enjoy this
Survivor.
Yes, I enjoy this show. I never usually have a problem with this show.
Right, for sure. Perfect. Well, until next time, thank you for listening, and we'll see you then. See you next time, and safe travels.